if we want to stop suffering, there are a couple of things that is very helpful to be aware of. And one of these things is the problem with preferences. And this is something Michael Singer is talking about a lot. And he says that the problem with preferences is that we have a way in which we want everybody and everything to be in order for us to feel okay. And since there are trillions of things that's going on outside of us that we can't control, it's like a mission impossible job. It's like it's impossible to do. So we will suffer. And that's a problem to have a preference. Just take traffic, for example. When we're driving, there are a lot of drivers around us that doesn't behave the way we want them to behave. And this causes us to be upset, angry, and maybe offensive also. I can feel this sometimes if I see or if the person in front of me doesn't use the blinking lights when turning. That can really get me upset because I'm thinking like, how hard can it be to just push the lever up a little bit, just one step, to show where you're going. That is so helpful, and it takes almost no effort, so I don't understand why this is such a hard thing to do. And this causes me to be upset for a couple of minutes. You know, this is almost the only thing I think about after that. And the guy in front of me, he doesn't care at all. And maybe he wasn't even aware about it. Maybe he forgot about it. I also sometimes forget about it, you know, and then I'm thinking, I wonder what the driver behind me is thinking about me now. So, but this causes a lot of negative energy for no reason at all. It's just like I have a preference that this guy in front of me should use their blinking lights, and if not, you know, I get upset. So that's a problem with a preference. And this is just a small example. And the weather is another small example. It's like we want the weather to be how we want it to be, but that's something we cannot control neither. Same when we have expectations of how our partner should behave, for example, or our kids, or our parents, or our colleagues at work. Like, if we have expectations how everybody should behave for us to feel okay, we will suffer because nobody wants to behave the way we want to behave. People behave the way they want to behave. So if we are trying to control everything that is going on outside of us, we will suffer. And again, these are small examples, but it's the same with bigger examples as well. Because we can have everything in life, everything we want or everything we need, but if we are missing one thing, we are going to focus on that thing, and we will feel miserable because we don't have this one thing. We can have everything else but not this one thing. And that's like the second noble truth in Buddhism. Like, the cause of all suffering is desire. It's like it's preferences. We have a desire how everything should be, and when it's not like that, we suffer. And that is why Michael Singer is talking about that enlightened people don't have any preferences. Like, they're happy just waking up in the morning and see what's going on, because they are happy they wake up on this planet and on the planet Mars, for example, where nothing is going on. It's just like dust and dirt everywhere. But on this beautiful planet, it's like a big museum, like the whole world is amazing, and we get to experience it. But we don't think like that, because everything needs to be like we want it to be in order for us to feel okay. So that's the problem with preference. And like, I get that, and that is why I'm practicing now. It's like when I wake up, just to have an open mind and not to resist reality, because if we resist reality, we will suffer, because you cannot argue with what is. Reality is the way it is, whether we like it or not. So the only thing we can do really is to accept it. But that's easier said than done. But that's why I think acceptance here on this level of consciousness, scale of consciousness, is a very powerful place to be in. And I think that's almost like the threshold to enlightenment, because after that I think it's like almost downhill to enlightenment. I think up to acceptance is a very tough road. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of acceptance to do in your everyday life every day to reach that level until nothing is bothering you anymore. So I think that's a very powerful place to be in. But that's one way to look at desire and preferences. Another way to look at it is that it's not the desire itself, it's that like our unconscious desire. That's what causes suffering. And this is something Sadhguru is talking about. He don't think like desire and preferences is bad. It's just like when we have unconscious desire and unconscious preferences, that's the problem. If you have a conscious desire, like you want to save the world, for example, save the planet, like Sadhguru wants to do, with, for example, now he's trying to save soil. That's a global movement he has created. And that's a nice desire to have, but he's not attached to that desire. Like, he wants it to happen, but he's not attached to it. So he will feel good even though he managed to do it or not. He will feel good anyway. And that's why enlightened people who are up here, whatever happens in life, they still feel good. But so they can have a desire, it's just that they are conscious about it. And that's the problem with most of our desires, is that they are not conscious. Because if you are not conscious, you fulfill one desire, but then the next one pops up, and it's a never-ending story. If you're unconscious, you will have the desire after the desire after the desire, and that's why you always focus on what you're missing in life. You're not conscious enough, and that is because we have been living in a misguided world for so long, so we have not realized this unconscious behavior. But that's what spirituality is about. It's about realizing and waking up from this unconscious behavior, realizing who we are in our essence. And when you realize that is the truth that will set you free, as Jesus said, which is also a very profound statement. When you realize who you are in your essence, that you are one of the most greatest being that has ever walked on this earth, when you realize that, you don't care so much about your little desires, because you are happy either way you get them or not, because you have realized who you are in your essence. Again, that is what spirituality is about, and that's why spirituality is so important. So my message today is to be aware of your desires. Be aware of how they cause suffering in your life. And try to just be aware of it and see if you can let go of some of these desires and let people and things be the way they are without trying to control it. Because if you try to control it, you will suffer. So yeah, that's my message for today. If you like this video, please click the like button, and if you like this channel, please subscribe to it, and I see you in the next video.